We've heard already from the Florida Congressman Matt Gaetz, one of the hardline factions in the House, saying that he will move to try and oust Kevin McCarthy from his job this week. Now, that's because those hardliners are unhappy with this last-minute deal. It doesn't contain the spending cuts that they wanted. It doesn't contain the money for more security at the U.S. southern border that they wanted. And they also don't like the fact that that deal, which was signed off on just hours before a midnight deadline ahead of a shutdown, was only secured with Democratic support. So Matt Gaetz says he will bring that motion. One of the conditions that Kevin McCarthy agreed to when he was voted in as Speaker in January was that it would be easier for people to bring motions to vacate the Speaker's chair. So an interesting week ahead there in the House as to whether Matt Gaetz has the number or Kevin McCarthy has the numbers, whether McCarthy might even rely on Democratic support to bail him out. None of the Democrats will say what conditions they might put on that support if they would even consider it. But Kevin McCarthy was only voted in January after 15 rounds of voting. Many people would have thought there's no way he can secure this job. And when he was asked about Matt Gaetz's comment, he said, "Bring it on." He said he was ready for this fight too.
Now, while praising this deal over the weekend, President Joe Biden, Barbara, is concerned that it doesn't include further aid for Ukraine. What's going on there?
Yeah, the Ukraine aid, that's been a sticking point. A lot of Republicans say they're concerned about blank checks going to Ukraine. They want more controls on the money going to Ukraine, particularly these hardliners have said they want less money going to Ukraine. So the deal doesn't include that. Joe Biden said that he didn't have any choice but to agree the deal to avoid the shutdown, to avoid the pain for those millions of people who would face not being paid during a shutdown. It's not clear whether there was a deal struck with Kevin McCarthy to bring a separate package for Ukraine, but President Biden is urging the Speaker to move forward with a separate funding deal for Ukraine. This is just a couple of weeks after President Volodymyr Zelensky visited the White House asking for further aid, so a bit of an awkward moment for President Biden. He's moved to reassure President Zelensky and the Ukrainian people that there will not be an interruption in U.S. support for Ukraine.
Look at me. We're going to get it done. I can't believe those who have voted for supporting Ukraine, overwhelming majority in the House and Senate, Democrat and Republican, will, for pure political reasons, let more people die needlessly in Ukraine.
And Joe Biden was asked, Michael, how much time they had before further funding needed to be passed. He said, "We have time, but not much time." And there's a great sense of urgency about this. Also, in terms of the shutdown deal or deal to avoid a shutdown, there's only 45 days time to come to a more longer term agreement. This is just a stopgap measure that's been agreed. And those 45 days run out at quite a crucial time here. It'll be just before that key holiday here, Thanksgiving.